I was told never to stray past the old river bend. They said there were villages out there, places that did not welcome strangers, but they never told me why. I had been walking for days. My water skin was nearly empty. My feet ached with every step. The forest around me was silent, not the kind of peaceful silence you find in nature, but the heavy kind, like the trees themselves were holding their breath. I first saw the rooftops through a break in the trees, thatched, uneven, weathered by storms. A cluster of homes huddled together like they were hiding from the world. A village. When I entered, the air changed. It was thicker somehow. The smell hit me first. Not rot exactly, but something metallic, like rust. The people were there, watching. They didn't greet me. They didn't smile. An old woman stood at a doorway, her face lined like the bark of an ancient tree. She held my gaze for a moment, then slowly shut her door. I thought maybe they were wary of strangers. That would make sense. I decided to keep my head down, to be polite and find a place to rest. A young boy approached me, barefoot. He stared at me with wide dark eyes and said only three words before running off: "Don't watch tonight." The sun was lowering. Shadows stretched long between the huts. I found the only building that looked like it might take in travelers. A small inn with smoke curling from its chimney. Inside the air was warmer, but the smell was stronger. The innkeeper was a tall man with hollow cheeks and a voice like dry leaves. "Stay inside after dark," he said, placing a wooden bowl of stew in front of me. I asked why. He only shook his head. The stew was strange, a deep, rich flavor I couldn't place. I didn't ask. Later, as I lay in the small bed, I heard the first sound, a low rhythmic beat, a drum. Then another, and then voices, low and chanting, moving somewhere in the distance. I tried to sleep. I really did. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. I rose, wrapped my coat tight, and stepped out into the night. The chanting grew louder as I followed the glow of firelight. I crept between huts until I reached the village square. The people stood in a circle around something. When I saw what it was, my blood turned to ice. I saw it. I forgot how to breathe. Not because it was gruesome, but because it was wrong. The kind of wrong that makes your mind feel like it's slipping sideways. In the center of the crowd lay a man, or what had been a man. His skin was pale, his chest still, his hands folded neatly on his stomach. He was dead. There was no doubt about that. And yet, they treated him like a feast waiting to happen. When I'd first arrived, I thought it was quaint. Wooden houses leaning with age, narrow dirt paths winding between them, children darting in and out of shadows. But then little things stood out. A young woman carrying a basket wouldn't meet my eyes, her knuckles white as she gripped the handle. Two old men stopped talking the moment I walked by, their gaze following me until I turned the corner. The boy I'd met earlier, standing by the edge of the forest. He was holding something in his small, pale hands. I thought it was a carved toy. It wasn't. It was a bone. And then there was the stew. The smell drifted from a pot over a small fire, rich, meaty, but there was something else under it, sharp and metallic, like rust. I didn't ask at first, but when my mind wouldn't rest about it, I asked. I asked what it was, but the innkeeper just smiled without showing his teeth. The villagers stood in silence for a moment, heads bowed. Then a deep voice broke the air, a chant, slow and steady, in a language I didn't know. Others joined in, swaying gently, like wheat in a windless field. Two women in rough grey cloth brushed herbs over his limbs. A young man poured a dark liquid, thick as oil, onto his chest. The smell hit me then, not the metallic tang from earlier, something heavier, thicker. It clung to the inside of my nose and throat. It reminded me of a night weeks ago, a roadside fire on my journey here. I'd followed the smell then too, thinking it was roasting meat. I'd found nothing but scorched earth and a scattering of bones, too small to be livestock. I told myself they were for an animal. I don't think I believe that anymore. I stepped closer, careful to stay hidden. My heart was pounding so loudly I swore someone would hear it. The innkeeper was there, the man who'd given me stew. In his hands a long curved knife. He looked solemn, reverent, as he sliced open the man's shirt, and then he began to cut. The chanting rose, deep and resonant, but there was no frenzy, no chaos. This was organized, a ritual. One by one, the villagers stepped forward. Each took a piece, small, careful, almost polite. They held it like holy bread before slipping it into their mouths. My mind flashed back to earlier that day. The little girl in the lane offering me a flat, round bread from a cloth bundle. I'd refused, thinking it was just stale. She'd smiled without blinking, and as I walked away, she whispered something under her breath. I couldn't place the words then. Now I think I know. I stumbled back, my heel catching on a stone. The sound made a few heads turn. I pressed myself into the shadows, forcing my breath to slow. That's when I saw him, the boy from earlier, standing at the edge of the circle, staring straight at me. His lips moved, not loud enough for anyone else to hear, but I read the words clear as day. You're next. A sudden burst of laughter to my left made me flinch. Two older women carrying steaming bowls toward the crowd brushed right past me. Their eyes didn't even flicker in my direction. For a moment I thought I was safe. Then The boy stepped forward and the laughter stopped. I turned and bolted, weaving between the huts. My boots slipped on the damp earth. Behind me, the chanting faltered, replaced by hurried footsteps. As I ran, I passed an open doorway. Inside, a man sat at a low table, chewing slowly, eyes locked on me. He didn't move to stop me. He just smiled, red staining the corner of his mouth. I reached the edge of the village and the forest swallowed me. Branches clawed at my coat, roots tried to trip me, but I didn't stop. Not until the torches were nothing but pinpricks behind me. Somewhere in the dark, a shape moved, a hunched figure, muttering and dragging something heavy through the leaves. I didn't look long enough to see what it was. I collapsed against a tree, my lungs screaming. Somewhere behind me, faint and distant, the drum began again. But this time it wasn't for the dead, it was for me.